Hello everyone, welcome back to FusioCraft. I'm back here in Barreleye Bay, continuing to grind things out. This brings back some Calcite Cove memories. I'm starting to mark things out with netherrack again. Where things are generally gonna go. These are not gonna be the exact proportions, I'm just trying to get the spacing right. This is gonna be the second factory, and it's gonna be like an iron refinery. Obviously, due to its name and its theme, you would expect there to be an iron farm in here. I don't think I'm gonna make one with the one at spawn. We get so much from that farm alone. I mean, I could make one just to have my own ease of access to iron here. But I think it's mostly just gonna be a bunch of farms that aren't related to like organic stuff. So I'm gonna cram as many organic farms in here, and all the non-organic ones, like maybe cobblestone generator, stuff like that, is going to be in here. This is going to be a big warehouse. It might end up being a storage room that actually has, like, sorting and redstone. Who knows? I feel like I just made the storage system in that old abandoned cave mineshaft thingy, but I don't know. It might just be a warehouse for warehouse sake. Who knows? I want to extend this road diagonally this way, so it runs in between this little shattered savanna and the hills over here. When I do that, I want to put a gas station somewhere over here. So if you're entering the area from this direction, then the gas station is kind of like one of the things that you enter the area with. And when I do extend this road, I am not going to continue using the dead coral as the sidewalk, because that's an expensive block and I would need like a million of those. So I'm definitely going to use something cheaper than that. Probably andesite, especially considering we have the Mason Trading Hall. Down at the end of the road, well, not the actual end as I just discussed, but the end of the sight line, as you look down the road, is going to be a massive power plant. Probably going to be the biggest build in Barreleye Bay, and I'm going to have power poles running out of it, and that's going to connect all the way up to Calcite Cove. So yeah, I've been planning a lot, and during that planning I decided I wanted a little ruined dock here. Like back when this place was first founded, this was the dock that this little shack used, before it basically got paved over by this newer modern stone dock. And they just never bothered demolishing it. They kept it for people to check out. But it is falling apart, and by the end of it, it's basically just the poles with some bird nests on them. So the functional use for this thing existing is that now this is a good way to get up out of the water and onto these docks. So now you can just climb up the ladder and boom, now you're up. I'm really proud of these poles. I really love mangrove. I think it's my favorite new log type. It's the perfect segue between spruce and dark oak, so it works really well with both of those wood types. And I love that it's slightly desaturated, but not super desaturated like acacia is. I still want a log that's a little bit in between this and acacia in terms of desaturation. That would be my ideal log. But you look down here, and I used the blue dead coral blocks as the barnacles, and then I covered it with lichen to give it that much more of the color that you want. And then it segues down to the moss, just like the walls. Speaking of the walls, and speaking of the lichen, I've been covering these walls with so much lichen. Look at this. This is a ton of lichen. And in order to do this, I had to make a lichen farm in that factory. I'll show that in a second, but look at how it makes the edges of the docks glow. Not only does this help with that segue between the bottom area of the docks that are super green and covered in life, and the top part that's all stone, but it also just really helps fit the mood, the ambiance of this place. Let me fly up here and show you. Look at that. Look at that glow on the edges. Oh, it's so good. These docks came out perfectly. Like, this was exactly what I was envisioning in terms of the mood that they gave. Back here we have the lichen farm that I was talking about. This is Mango's design. That dude is legit a genius. So all of these dispensers are filled with bone meal, which you may not be able to guess where the best place on the server to get bone meal is. With a better output setup, it would be this moss farm. But I've actually gotten most of this bone meal from the iron farm because we're auto-composting all of those flowers. And we had generated so many bone blocks from those iron golem flowers, it was insane. But anyways, the way it works is you flick this lever, you get inside here, and you just spam the shears, and every single time you do, you get 6 glow lichen because they grow on every single edge of this cube. Now, I could make this faster by enchanting the shears, but you know, you run through them all the time, you break them. I don't really feel like it's that worth it. Plus, I'll show you the biggest problem with this farm right here, right now. The inventory gets filled up so fast. I think I may need to put a hopper minecart underneath here so that when I'm in there and my inventory gets full, I can just toss them out and they all will get sucked up and put into some big storage array. But for now, I've been using everything that I've been getting out of it, like immediately. So I'll do that later when I want to stockpile, maybe sell it in my shop. And while I was here, I decided to add some more bone meal related farms. So I added all these tall flower farms here. There's no bone meal in it, but this is what it would do. Oh, I guess, does this work for both farms? How did that happen? Oh, it's because this powered the dispenser that singular time. That's funny. Not technically a bad thing. I'll keep that. I don't have a smart way to get bone meal in here automatically or whatever, so I'll do that manually, which does require punching out the flour, but whatever. I don't think I'm going to use these that much anyways. I just wanted to put as many things in here as I could. So yeah, I think I'm going to focus a lot of this episode on making more of these types of farms and building up the factories, especially finishing this one. Mark my words, this one will be done. It's been sitting here since July. There may be a little bit of a redesign. I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I'm doing it. But definitely the next big new building I want to do is the iron refinery. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing a turtle head, Mike invited me over to do a bit of a turtle massacre. There was way too many in Sesame Street. And now for something completely different. Turtle murder. Mike has a little bit of an infestation on his hands and he wants me to help out. Something about all this murder is making the audio cut out a little bit. This is so funny. We killed all of the turtles on land, and there's so many more in the water that they're just coming back up. It's like they're all respawning already. Quality entertainment. That knockback. Alright, Mike has allowed me to keep 64 of these turtle eggs. Pretty good deal out of that. A saga reaches its end. It's sad to see. It was a bloodbath, and it was quite sad. So yeah, turtle eggs acquired. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with those. Who knows? But now it's time to start working on some progress. Shout out to when I was gonna build this building. I am. Don't worry. The reason I'm starting on the walls of the warehouse is so that I can get a general sense of what colors to pick for this build, so that I don't pick something that's too metonymous with the two buildings that surround it. This one ended up being mostly blackstone, at least on this wall. It's going to be a little more deep slate up on top, but the part that juts up against this building is going to be way more dark and black. And you see I'm using a bit of a gradient here. I'm doing more of that texture and to kind of give it a little bit of depth. So, especially from far away here, that window kind of looks like it's jutted out a little bit. This is good and I'm happy with it. This is like a tiny portion of this warehouse. But yeah, this is gonna really help me. I got a lot of deep slate on this side and some black blocks as well. The wool, the black stone. I think this one's gonna be a little more on the neutral gray to dark gray spectrum. I think there's gonna be a little more of a rusty brownish quality to this one. Maybe there'll be way more copper involved with this one. I think that's a good idea. See, letting the overall composition of the area inform your design choices for a specific build, it's a good way to get inspiration. These docks might just become copper fields very soon. Man, what is even going on anymore? What is this? What is happening? This is such a weird design. I have no idea how this works. I guess it cooks them. Oh, it like temporarily puts lava above. Okay, so the campfire just keeps them at a specific height. And this is how KFC was born. Wow. Okay, so massive shout out to my smelting setup down here because, wow, yeah, I'm smelting copper like crazy, man. Like, all of them are blast furnaces. I could smelt even more on the floor here. And the lava restocking process, not too painful. And boom, that gave us almost all of it back. Oh, and the copper down here is starting to turn colors. You know what? It is satisfying to watch it turn over time. Maybe I should just build with normal copper blocks. I mean, I say that, but I don't actually want much of the final stage. I want a lot of this third stage, the weathered stage. So I guess maybe it is worth prepping them beforehand. It's been a few days and I just haven't been in the Minecraft spirit. I mean, it got hot and that was a big part of it, but I think I'm gonna try to stream to get myself back into the groove of things. That was my ramble. Not very long ramble. Let me guess. I'm gonna get close to this guy and a lightning strike is gonna pop a bunch of skellies here. Yep, I knew it. I knew it. Why is this so common? They're actually fast down there. These dudes are good under... If I get a saddle, I could do a battle with them. And you're already my friend. Good. Okay, let's do this. Oh, this is awesome. They're so hard to hit. Come on. Okay, it's not going good going up and down. You know, actually, it would be perfect to keep all these skeleton horses just floating around down here in the bay. It's supposed to be spooky scary down here. That's perfect. Check it out. This is so perfect for Barreleye Bay. We just have dead ghost horses roaming the ocean. Check out these guys. You just keep letting them shoot you with their bow, preferably with a shield. And eventually they break. And now they kind of just sit there. I'm gonna try to get something set up where they can be like the Barreleye Bay version of the villagers in Calcite Cove, and they'd be purely there to give life to the area. Oh my god, wait, hold on, there's a sign on the back. This is a new one. Hidden Easter egg for all the gamers out there. What's funny about this board is that I don't know who wrote them, but I have suspicions. Oh my gosh, this is a huge vein. Wow. This is what I like about copper, is if you don't want it, you know, you're free to be annoyed, go around it, whatever. But if you do want it, then going to dripstone caves, finding an ore vein, stuff like that, it's fun. It's fun to seek it out. So from a builder's POV, the entire reason copper's so valuable is because they're great building blocks. I want more metals like this. So this would be a perfect way to implement new cave biomes. Think about this. If we add more decorative metal blocks, kind of like copper, like let's say titanium, and then if you made those metals, maybe not exclusive to new biomes, but like copper and dripstone caves, where you find way more of it. So it makes it a thing where if you want a bunch of titanium, you're building a big metal base, then yeah, you're gonna want to find this cave. It already works for dripstone caves. Why not repeat that several times over with some other decorative metals? And then a lot of people are frustrated with copper just because it's so plentiful. When you're not like a builder that is using it for your builds, then it is annoying. If all you want is like ore to, you know, get better gear and stuff, you know, you want things that have function. If we had more decorative metal blocks, that could kind of lessen copper's normal availability. Like everywhere that there currently is copper outside of dripstone caves, now it would be copper or titanium or something else, yada yada. That's the way I would do it. And then if you go to a dripstone cave, then it's all copper, where it would be all those other decorative metal blocks in the mix as well, and vice versa with the other cave biomes that focus on the other ores. And then of course these other metal blocks, these other decorative metal ores could be like copper as well, in the way that you can craft other specific functional things with them. They're not just decorative. And definitely they do need to add more things you can craft with copper later on. Cough cough, this is why we needed copper golems. Cough cough, still not over that. But yes, same thing with the other decorative metal blocks. Should open up new possibilities for new things to craft with those as well. Here's an idea. Here's a really, really, really simple one. You know iron bars? Why not have copper bars? Boom. You don't even have to like come up with a wholly new thing. You can just take something that already exists in iron form and just, you know, like decoratively and turn it into copper. I don't know off the top of my head the actual shade of titanium. Doesn't matter. What I'm thinking of is like a darker metal block. Blocks that have metal texture that are colors other than super light gray and the copper colors. Because that's all we've got right now, basically. We have blocks like the hopper and the cauldron that are like a darker metal, but they're not like blocks. Those are, you know, like utility blocks that have a certain wacky shape. We also have the top of these smithing tables. So if you want something conveyed to be completely like just dark metal, then you can't show any other side other than the top. So that's limiting, very limiting. The netherite block is a really good example of what I'm talking about, but obviously that's so expensive, there's no point trying to build with it. You know me, I'm a calcite collector. Oh my gosh, 2 of them. Wait, 3 of them! 3 geodes in the same exact spot. Holy crud. And someone's been in here. That's cool. That's so cool. I have so many ideas for what I would want my next big base to be. Whether that's FusioCraft Season 2, when 1.20 releases, or Solo World, or whatever it is. I want to do a cave base. They've made cave bases such a good option now with everything that they've done. That might be, oh my gosh, because this just makes me think, like, I want to build something like this, you know? I'm losing my mind over this, and I don't know why. Crystalline biomes, more geodes, more things like amethyst that are, like, geode specific. Like, you know, anytime you find a geode, it's going to be good because that means calcite. But it also is like, oh boy, what's inside of it? Because right now, when you see a geode, you know it's amethyst inside. But if it could be all these other, you know, minerals or ores that don't exist in Minecraft yet, it would be like you have a huge reason to explore underground. Is what if you want to give your base a sapphire flare or something? Is sapphire a thing that has geodes? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But, you know, what if you want to give your base a topaz flare? You'd have to find a topaz geode or something, you know, that kind of thing. The best qualities about Minecraft are you have some really awesome things you can find out in the world that you can either use for gear or for building, and then you make it fun to go out and find it. You know what else I think? Okay, I was talking about decorative metals a lot. I'm gonna get back into that. Giving more functionality to copper and potential future decorative metal blocks. It could be a thing where maybe instead of having it be specific things for each one, there could be benefits universal to all of them. Beacons, you could put in iron, or you could put in an emerald, or gold. What if there are things like that where you could use any decorative metal blocks, like copper, or titanium, or whatever, to fuel it? Whatever that thing may be. I think adding more decorative metal blocks may open the doors to more machinery in general. The redstone update was like 2013. It's been a really long time. We could go for another update on the technical side. The mechanical update, I don't know. I hate seagulls. I hate seagulls. I hate seagulls. I hate seagulls. Always trying to nip you for your food scraps. You can't have my golden carrots. That's mine. Okay, it's been a little while since I recorded. I've been a little out of the spirit, as you guess you already know, since this video took a few weeks to come out. But I've been doing a lot of just overall grindy things around here. You can see I've extended the road diagonally, like I was talking about earlier. I don't think I'm gonna extend it that much further, at least not for now. Maybe eventually, if there's a reason to, then I will, but I just wanted it to make it look like the road just doesn't stop in the area. And I do plan on building that gas station here. I really want to do that soon. The weird thing about the gas station build is that I had a dream about this being on the server, like all the way back in like July. I don't know, my dream told me to put a gas station out on some stretch of road like this. Like one day, FusioCraft will expand to the point where there will be roads and gas stations and it'll just go on and go on. But yeah, extending the road meant that I could finish up and figure out how to finish up this dock right here. Now I just gotta figure out what's gonna go in this space. I mean, there's a lot of empty space still. This is the big thing that I've been tinkering with. The iron refinery. It's been a lot of back and forth between survival building and creative world designing, and I've been really trying to figure out what I want out of this building, and it's been a little hard. I want the actual iron refining process to be like a story you can follow along with, and the build is going to have to reflect that, so I can't just build structures for the sake of it. I have to make sure that everything makes sense. So I guess the big thing holding me up with this build is that I don't actually really know how a refinery is like structured. With something like a barn, it's pretty simple to build because you know the inner workings, you know what goes on inside of it, you know what it can be used for, you know the ins and outs. It's pretty simple, but an iron refinery is something that you don't usually have expert knowledge on. And I'm not trying to make it like realistic to real life, but I still don't want it to just feel like a bunch of random bits scattered about. There's gotta be some logic to it, and I guess it's the logic thing that's kind of holding me up. But this short little road area is basically surrounded by now. And even though it's all facade, it really makes the area feel like it's coming alive. Lag has decided that I'm really, really short today. That's cool. I've also decided that the overall color scheme of this place is going to be less blue and more bluish green. My original idea was that it was going to be a lot of darker shades, a lot of blue, with a few highlights of purple. And I think I may still do a few purple highlights. But overall, I want to shift it from the blue side to the bluish green side, especially this shade. Weathered copper is going to be very important to Barreleye Bay, as well as dark prismarine. That's another great color that goes well with the weathered copper. So I'm beginning to swap out some of the colored bits on this build with more of the colors that I have in mind. And I've also just been updating it and actually finishing it, building it up. Look, there's a roof. That wasn't there before. It's just been a lot of tinkering. You can see here I have a second smokestack. This is the original one I designed all the way back in July, and I was like, I don't know, it looks a little too evil. But you know what? I think it looks good, and I think this is a great way to kind of divide up the build on this side. So there's still a lot of little things I need to figure out. I need to figure out what I want to put here, because I don't want it to just be a smaller window. I want it to be something unique. I need to figure out the interior, obviously, and I need to make this opening a little more interesting. But yeah, I said I was going to finish this build by the end of the episode, and I'm still going to dedicate myself to that. I'm going to make sure that that actually happens. It looks great. I need to just figure out what to put on this roof here. See, it's tricky because I want to just put a flat section right here, but I don't know how that's going to interact with this slope section. So actually, I may as well just continue this over here. Yeah, that would make sense. It would kind of make this section of the build feel like it was kind of shoved together afterwards. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just need to figure out what blocks to use for the roof part of the roof. As for these builds, I could easily knock this one out. I've already designed the top portion of this build. I can just replicate what I've got going on this side, on the other walls. I've already figured out mostly what I want to do on the front. The iron refinery may be a thing that I just do bits and pieces of episode by episode, because not only is this one complicated, it's gonna be big. And tall, trust me. So since it is now mid-September already, I'm really in the Halloween mood. Life has been distracting me, but I really want to get this to a mostly finished state by Halloween. I think that this factory looks way better than it did before. Not just because it's like almost finished, but also because of the color changes. The glass should have always been green. I've literally been calling this the Greens Factory forever now. That's essentially its name. I'm gonna name this the Greens Factory. That is what I grow inside of it after all, which makes the green glass make sense. If there was any color that this glass would get stained with over time, it would be green. So I decided to just make a whole new section of the building here for the entrance. That way when you enter, It's not like you have to do that awkward little 90-degree turn. Now that turn is inside the building itself, and the front door actually faces the street. And I really like what I came up with. You can see there's a kind of broken apart, malfunctioning door. Like this could have at one time been a piston door, but now it's kind of just in disarray. All the pieces have come off, and the only parts that are still moving are just kind of doing so randomly. We got a pipe coming out the side here, pumping in or out, who knows what. And I've continued the sawtooth roof theme over here in a way that really makes the build feel like it's fully come together. No longer do these different elements feel random because they are repeated. This really makes the whole build feel like it comes together in a way that, I don't know, it makes it make sense. You come inside here, you got a lovely window, and you can see the pipe that will eventually pump into here. And I still haven't figured out the interior. That's a much harder thing that I'll do later. I mean, really all I have to do is make these farms look pretty. That's about it. Come up with some pathways, maybe some walkways up there. And here's a weird feeling. This factory actually has a roof now. I'm not just exposed to the elements in here. Now, obviously, I still haven't finished it all the way, but I've gotten it to a point where I can easily grind out the rest later, and it looks really great. I want to focus on other things in Barreleye Bay now. So I'll keep cracking away at this in the background, and I think next episode I want to really focus on the ocean. Anyways, that's gonna have to do it for me this episode. I got a lot done. It doesn't really feel like it, but yeah, a lot has happened. I'm making slow and steady progress on the warehouse, the second factory, almost completing this one, laying down more details here and there, extending the road. I did actually do a lot. A lot on land anyways, so yeah, tune in next episode where I dive into the depths that I create.